today's video I want to talk about something I don't hear many people say out loud, and it's how self-improvement content does not make your life better. In some cases, or most cases, it actually makes it worse, and it does it in a really subtle way, more in a quiet, believable way that looks like progress from the outside. And I was stuck in this trap for several years. I'm only 18 now, but I've been consuming this type of content for several years since I was quite young. And I just found myself consuming more advice than I was applying. And I wouldn't even apply any in most cases. And even worse, consuming it starts to replace actually doing the work. Watching the video feels productive, so the pressure to act disappears. And this is coupled with the constant comparison from this influencer's fake life to yours. And it's not just comparison to other people's results, but to their lifestyles. The perfectly clean desks, the morning routines that somehow include cold plunges, deep work, journaling, and still leave time to travel. You don't consciously think, I should live like this. You start feeling like you're behind if you don't. And I'm not saying everything's staged, I'm just saying more of the psychological impact of consuming this content. I'm sure most of these influencers are doing these productive routines, etc. But its effect on you is more harmful than you know. And a part of why that comparison is so misleading is because you've only ever shown the most presentable moments. A short clip of a workout, a quick shot of someone on a call, a laptop open in a nice location, some aesthetic Pinterest photo, something like that. And it excludes what ordinary reality is really like around it. The boredom, the repetition, the days when nothing flows, the hours where the work feels slow and unimpressive. Most real progress doesn't look that good on camera. It looks like sitting in the same place for longer than you'd like, doing the same thing again and again without any obvious sign that it's working. But when you're constantly shown the highlights, your brain starts to think that this is what progress is supposed to feel like. Energized, clean, cinematic, confident, put together. So when your own effort feels dull or frustrating or uninteresting, you assume you're doing it wrong. And what makes it even more damaging is that all of this is framed as self-improvement. So when you feel worse, more restless, more dissatisfied, you assume the problem is you, that you're not disciplined enough, not focused enough, or not doing it properly. And another thing I've noticed is how much of this space, this community, is built around selling something. Courses, coaching, systems, or templates. And the message is subtle, but it's there, and this doesn't apply to everyone, but it kind of gives you the message that you're one purchase away from clarity. So instead of sitting with uncertainty or doing slow, boring work, you keep searching for the next explanation, the next life hack, which will suddenly turn your life around, the one thing you've been missing. And that search can go on for years, and that's just not realistic. The fake lifestyle part matters a lot too. A lot of what looks like productive living is really just content creation. Filming a routine isn't the same as having one. Recording a productive moment isn't the same as sustained progress. And I get that this is their careers, like, I'm not hating on any of these people, but when you start seeing it often enough, your brain starts to associate the appearance of productivity with progress itself. So you optimize how things look instead of what they actually produce. And I'm a huge example of this. I was consuming so much content, probably several hours of YouTube a day, and I wouldn't change anything. I'd just be sitting there watching it, feeling less worse than myself by watching something supposedly unproductive. unproductive, I mean. And it makes you feel like you're showing up without actually doing anything. So if you feel overwhelmed by self-improvement content or strangely stuck despite consuming a lot of it, there might not be anything wrong with you. I think everyone just needs to zoom out, because you might just be too informed and not engaged enough with your own life. And sometimes the most important thing you can do is stop watching, stop comparing, and focus on the one or two things that actually matter to you, even if they look boring or don't fit into a neat narrative. That's usually when things start to change. A bit off topic, but I have this really useful Chrome extension. It's called Unhook, and you can just, when you load up YouTube, you can just block the home screen, shorts, whatever. And I do this most days of the week. I try to keep it on, so you can have it so you just see your subscriptions, just a small amount of content. And I found that has really helped. Like, I'll watch little to no YouTube now, and I get that that's some people's way of relaxing or whatever, but in my life I found that's quite helpful, just to only see the content that I'm genuinely interested in and not trying to feel productive by watching, even if it does nothing for me. So this is just my take on the self-improvement industry, and I guess this channel is kind of pulling me in it, but I just want to be brutally honest with how I feel about everything, and people who sell these fake lifestyles and promise you can have it if you buy their course or whatever. So I'm not saying my opinion is true or anything. It's subjective. It's completely my opinion. But I think it does apply to a lot of people. You need to zoom out and just look at your life and stop looking at theirs. So I hope this video has been eye-opening, or maybe you've been thinking this. But yeah, thank you for watching.